Welcome back to Everyday Lessons in the Bible. Today I was in Proverbs 10. This Proverbs is Proverbs of Solomon, and it goes back and forth. So if you want to know which route to go, it really outlines it for you here. It goes back and forth between good and bad, wise and unwise, righteous and not righteous, followers of God and followers of evil. So this is a really good one to read to kind of see the difference between the two. I would always recommend reading different translations because some will say it in a different way to help shed light on maybe what it's saying, versus other ones. My brain doesn't think that technical, or I guess you would say that advanced in the words. So sometimes I need to read other translations in order to really grasp what it's meaning. And so I encourage you to read this one because it really does go back and forth, and it helps you to see, what is right, what is not right, and how it affects other people. Like right off the bat, a wise son makes a father feel joy, feel glad, and a foolish son can make a mother feel sad or sorrowful. And then it talks about, if you're not on the right path with the Lord, the treasures that you gain, the wealth that you gain, it's not going to profit you. It's not going to be good for you. But when it's of the Lord, you will be prosperous, and He will satisfy you. Whereas when you're not walking in the ways of the Lord, it won't bring you satisfaction. And it talks about how the importance of knowing the season. And in this one, it's kind of the Word of God a lot of times will talk in a way as if it's talking about one thing, but it's really talking about another. So like, for example, it's talking about the seasons, and a time for harvest. But really what it's talking about here is, knowing the seasons that you're in and how it can bring forth, fruit, and where you can help others. There's a time to plant and a time to water and a time to harvest. And that can be not just in the physical with growing crops, but that's in the spiritual. There's a time to, share the word of God, and there's a time to really go out and reap the harvest, like gather the people that are ready to be, brought to the Lord, And so here it's really talking about knowing the difference in the seasons and the opportunity that you have to really gather people that are ready, like their heart is on fire and they are needing to know, they're needing to learn, like they're ready to hear the word of God. There are times when people aren't ready, and that's a time of planting. That's just planting seeds, like in your kids or in friends or just people that coworkers. You're just planting seeds. You're planting little nuggets. And sometimes that planting is just them seeing you and your walk with the Lord. They're not ready to receive that. They're not ready to walk in that way, but they're watching you. They're seeing how you live your life, how you do things. And through that is planting seeds in their lives. And so I think a lot of times we think we got to keep shoving it down people's throats, and that's just not the way to do it. You've got to let people see your walk with the Lord, and they will glean from that. And then there will come a time where their heart is ready, and they will come to you and want to know more about your God, more about your beliefs. And then that's going to be the harvest. And so the righteousness of people, they will be blessed. There will be blessings poured out on them, and you will see that. There will be good memories. There will be blessings. But with the wicked, it says it will be a rotten stench. and I've heard that before, like people that have the blessing on them, there is a sweet aroma coming from them. And people that are full of wickedness, there is the stench of death on them. I can't imagine. I just would not want the stench of death on me. Wise people are going to listen. They're going to want to be instructed and receive what you have to say. Foolish people are going to just talk so much that they can't listen or learn from anybody. And I don't know if you've ever been around people like that, like you see something in them and you want to correct them, you want to instruct them, but they're so quick to lash back out at you that you're wrong or that they don't want to listen to you. And I don't want to be that way. I know I have been that way in the past, but we should be open to receive correction from people that we trust and that we love, and not be so quick to pounce on them and tell them, that they're wrong, because then you can't learn. And then, wicked people, they're always just troublemakers. They wink the eye and they just like to stir up strife, but people that are righteous and following the Lord, they will be slow to speak. And they are full of knowledge, and they will share that knowledge. And it also says in here that those that have knowledge, they will provide a safe place, a strong city. And it doesn't have to be a strong city in the literal sense, but that they are a safe place for people to come and feel strength and comfort and know that you're going to speak life over them and goodness and and you have discernment, and then when it talks about like the rod, and you've always heard spare the rod, spoil the child. And right here it says, a rod is for the back of him who lacks sense. And so basically, it's not saying beat somebody, but it's talking about like the rod here. One of the analogies or metaphors or whatever you want to say for that is like a shepherd that leads the sheep. He uses the rod to, get the sheep back in line, or like the hook is to pull the sheep back, or the rod to tap them on the head and make them come back in line, what are all in the back. So it's not, it's not meaning it in an abusive way. It's meaning it, hey, to correct you, hey, get your attention, get you back over to where you need to be. Because, otherwise like a sheep will just wander off and they'll get killed, they'll be destroyed. And so, God is saying, you've got to help people, get them back in line. And it's just like with your children, help them, guide them in the path of the right direction. Otherwise, they will wander off and be unprotected. They won't be strong and in a city where they can be protected and loved. And those who are righteous, they want to learn. They want to stay on the path of life and not be led astray. But the wicked want to lead you astray. They want you to be lost. And they love to just lie to you and bear false witness and things like that. And people that are righteous, they want to listen and speak less, and they know to bite their tongue, and I've had to learn that, because I used to be one that would just talk, and I've had to learn to bite my tongue. You can't say all the things that you want to say. You've got to be able to listen and to draw from what other people are saying for correction or wisdom, and just so you know what it sounds like, and to be able to help others, be able to speak life into other people, and not end up regretting. I've been in those situations where I've said so much that I start regretting all the words that I said. So if you speak less, you can regret less of what you said. And then it also talks about how the wicked, they're going to have to face the consequences of their sin and the things that they've said and their actions. And that's really hard, like if you could speak less, then maybe there would be less consequences, And then it talks about how the wicked, they're going to pass into hell. And the righteous are going to be established forever. So they're going to be in heaven. They're going to be anchored in the Lord. And I want that for you. And it's the fear of the Lord prolongs your life. So that's the awe and worship of God, and have a happy, long life, not your years cut short because of your wickedness. And so you want to be part of the joyful feast that the Lord has for you. And that he has a safe place for you. And that's what he wants for you to inherit. And inherit the blessings of the Lord, the land, the blessings, the place that God has for you. Whereas the wicked will not. They will not inherit the land. They will not inherit the blessing of the Lord. They are crooked and perverse, and they always are wanting to lead people astray. And I think about that in today's time. People are spouting off all of this wrong stuff, this wicked stuff, trying so hard to lead people astray. And I just think it's so sad because others believe it. Others are following it. And it is not the land of the living, the land of inheritance, the land of the blessing that God has for you. So I just encourage you today to be mindful of what you say, be mindful of how well you listen to instruction, and be careful so that you can follow God's ways, not Satan's ways.